Hi, my name is Keri Barnum. I am here for New Shelves Books and Free Advice Friday, the hour every Friday we get together to talk about book marketing, publishing, and everything having to do with writing a book and publishing it and marketing it. So we take questions live online at newshelves.com/FAF every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, or we take questions through email throughout the week to questions@freeadvicefridays.com, and then we answer them live. We do put up our replays on Mondays, so you can catch those on YouTube at youtube.com/newshelvesbooks. And we've already got best question ever, Jane. I'm losing my will to publicize. Say something inspiring. Oh, no problem, Jane. I think everyone gets tired though, right? Like everyone, when your book first comes out, it's this big exciting thing. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to post about it everywhere. I'm going to tell everybody. And then about the 10th time you have to ask for reviews or you're posting like the same thing. You're like, all right, I'm kind of done. Because not only do you feel like it's repetitive, but you don't feel heard and you start to feel a little obnoxious, maybe. So I think it's really important to think of new ways to publicize. Well, two things, actually. I think that it's really important that we, number one, find something that we like to do. If I really love Facebook, well, then I need to do a lot of my marketing on Facebook. I need to go where I have fun at. If I really enjoy conferences and speaking, which is what I actually really enjoy doing, well, then I need to do more of that to publicize myself, to publicize books. And so you need to find your niche and what you like doing. I talked to an author this week who was telling me she had spent thousands and thousands of dollars with a company paying for someone to set up social media for her, to post for her. This woman hates social media. She never wants to touch it. And so she spent all of this time, money, and effort paying other people to set it up for her, but she's never going to use it. And that's not a good long-term strategy. You either have to get on board and decide that you can or will do something, or you need to find something that you really enjoy. Do you enjoy guest blogging? Do you enjoy podcasting? Are you good at, I don't know, going and teaching classes in libraries? Find whatever is your passion and your niche in life, and then see how you can relate that to your book marketing. How can you bring that in? Because when you're doing stuff that you enjoy, it's not as hard. Now, that doesn't mean you can just forget about all the other stuff and you can only do things you enjoy. You do have to do some of those other things that, you know, the stuff that everyone has to do. You may not love Amazon ads, but you're either going to pay for someone else to run them or you have to run them. I'm sorry. But when you take the bulk of your time and you are focusing on the things you enjoy, the things you don't enjoy don't seem to hold you down quite so much. And like David's saying over in the comments here, baby steps, you can do it. Baby steps, consistency. It's not this roaring fire that is going to flame out. You need to carry it for a long time. And there will be highs and lows. There will be times you're like, I'm just not feeling it, but you have to keep doing it. Exactly. You may love having a pony, but you still have to clean the stall. I got a puppy and he was so adorable and cute. And now that he's in his teenage years, as we call them, and he needs attention and he wants to chew on me, I still have to feed him, because if I don't, I'd be a horrible human. And so you still have to do those things. I also think that it's important to find new and creative ways to market your book. Find ways that you haven't done before. Find something new, find a niche. I actually heard something that was kind of brilliant the other day from a duo that works over at Squeaky Cheese Productions. They are an audiobook company, and we were on a panel together for a discussion. And one of the things that they suggested doing is Googling your topic and finding the top articles that were written about your topic, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. Find those top articles, research the people who wrote those articles, and pitch them your book and pitch them a story angle or an interview. Because if those people write on that topic, fiction, nonfiction, whatever, they may be looking for new people to collaborate with. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's something different out of the box. Of course, it typically requires that you do a little bit of research, but there's always something you can do, and mix in the fun, mix in the exciting with kind of the mundane. And as I like to say, 10 minutes a day. You don't have to do it all day, but you have to do 10 minutes a day. And if you do that, it'll roll right in. Yeah, I thought that was a fun idea. And I think especially so with fiction books, you may be thinking, well, how does that roll in? Well, does your fiction book deal with any societal issues? Does your fiction book, I mean, people write about fiction books all the time. Is your book set in a certain locale? Can you pitch a local newspaper wherever your book is set in? All sorts of different things. I love this. Even when you enjoy doing something, there will be days when it feels like work. Papa McNair. And it's true. It's true, no matter how much you love it. So keep on going, sister. Keep on going. You got this. All right. How can I get help in selling my books to libraries? I watched your webinar on that subject, but I want to get started quicker than trying to do it myself. If you would like help with marketing your book to libraries, shoot me an email. It's info@newshelves.com. I will drop it in the link here as well. We do a couple of large scale mailings quarterly about. So you can certainly contact us there, Donald, and we can see if we can help you. And I do offer free 15-minute phone calls too, if you want to discuss your book there. All right, I have an ad on Amazon for the first book of my trilogy. My ACOS has gone from the 70s to the 96th percentile, but I've already sold 40 ebooks and 4 paperbacks so far this month. I've also sold 13 ebooks of book 2 and 8 of book 3. When does it no longer become profitable to maintain the ads? What can I do different or better? So when we're talking ads of a series, which I know you have, typically you may lose money on your first ad. It's kind of the way of the game. You're acquiring a customer, and sometimes you lose money. Most of the time we just try to break even on a series, and then you make your money on book 2 and book 3. So when you're looking at it, you need to actually look at what you're spending in advertising versus what you're making an overall profit for the month. Because your books are all tied together, we know that if people are buying book 2 and book 3, it's because they started with book 1. As we've already established, the only people who read from the middle of a series on are monsters. So I think that it's really important that we start with book 1. And part of that, again, you want to look at your ad spend versus your royalty throughout the month, not just what sells, because what sells, when you look at your pricing on Amazon ads, they'll say ad spend, and then how do they label it? It's like spend and sales. And the sales is the outright number. So if your book is $14.99, it's going to say you spent $10, but don't worry, your sales were $14.99. But then you have to figure out of that $14.99, how much you actually made, because after print cost and after Amazon takes their cut, you most definitely do not make $14.99. So you need to make sure that you are covering your cost, and that then for book 2 and book 3, you're profitable. So an easier way to do that is to kind of look at months past and look at what you spent. Let's say September. What did you spend in September, and what were your royalty profits in September? Sometimes going backwards can kind of be a good exercise. Typically, we say that if your ads for a book are around 50% ACOS, that you are breaking even or profitable. Typically, again, it depends on how much your book is and all that kind of stuff. But so that's profitable. But again, you've got book 2 and book 3 to look at. So go back and look at your spend per month or per week with the actual royalties you made and figure it out that way. I think you're probably still profitable depending on what your percentages are. Now, ads, while you can kind of set them and not spend too much time on them. Ads do need to be tweaked here and there. For example, are you looking at your keywords and making sure that you don't have any keywords dragging you down? I was looking at ads with a client the other day, and there was one single keyword, just one keyword, that had spent $30 over the month. Not one sale, spent $30. We simply turned that off. The ACOS is going to be so much better in a couple weeks because there was one keyword that was getting a lot of clicks that was not converting. It just wasn't a good keyword, and that happens sometimes. So it's important to look at your targeting keywords to make sure that there are no keywords that are just getting clicks but not converting. For example, if I have a book, I don't know, let's say that I have a book and I am advertising Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. If I've got that book and it's Outlander and my cover's kind of Highlandy, so I'm getting a bunch of clicks, but then it turns out that my actual book is about, I don't know, the Highlands in the 80s, and it's a nonfiction book. It's not going to convert well. People are clicking on it thinking that they're getting time travel romance, and I'm giving them 80s history. So sometimes there are keywords that will get clicks, but they don't convert, and we just have to get rid of them. You know, we kind of have to optimize those. So that's something to keep in mind and look at as well. And Vicki, I know I'll be in your account soon, so I'll check it for you. All right. And I love that Donna's saying that she had great luck with the library marketing program for her client's book, Racing with Aloha, which is great. I know that sold a lot. It was very popular. All right. We had a couple of emailed questions. And yes, I will bring Griff back out sometime when he's behaving. I might have to just put up a picture in the Facebook group because I had him on a Zoom, a personal Zoom where a couple of us were together chatting, and he was just like crawling over top of my head. It was rough. All right. There was a question from Wendy about a new app called Bookie Call, and it mimics the look and feel and function of a dating app, and it's a new way to help readers discover the type of books they like to read. So think of it as Tinder meets Goodreads. And so it's a new app. Again, it's called Bookie Call. Yeah, the innuendo is probably on purpose. And it, as I said, is Tinder meets Goodreads. I actually have never been on the Tinder app, but I think that's the one you do, like the swipe or something. So that's kind of what it's like. So think about the people who are typically using these apps. Do you think that if you have a clean, cozy mystery that tends to attract readers from the age to 50 to 60, that they are going to be on Bookie Call? If not, leave it alone. I would say that this typically for this new app, number one, it's new, so it's unproven. It's something to explore, but it's unproven. And I will say that this app is typically going to appeal to teenagers to very early 20s. I do not think it will appeal to many people over, let's say, in their 40s and 50s. Of course, there's outliers, and I could be totally wrong, but based on what I know of it, based on what it is, I think that it's fairly new. If you have young adult fiction, maybe romance, it could be popular. So it's something that you could kind of play with, but I wouldn't sink a bunch of time or money in it. I don't think this is going to be super in it for like weight loss books or health nonfiction. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think that it's going to be worth the time and effort to really put a lot into this app for anyone not targeting the, let's say, the 15 to the 30-year-olds. All right, I'm currently taking Brian Cohen's Amazon ad challenge. He recommends a 15-cent bid for picture books, but my self-publishing group recommends a 39-cent bid. Any thoughts on how much to spend on bids? I don't have a large budget. Is 39 cents too high? Well, first, let's say Brian Cohen is hugely successful. He has helped a lot of people and his ad system works. However, you set rules to have a baseline, and sometimes those rules need to be bent or broken. I've personally worked with Brian on a couple of ad campaigns for people in the past, and there were some times where he's like, this isn't working. We've got to try something different. And I completely agree. There are some times where the standard doesn't work and it's time to change it and try something new. So is 39 cents too high? Keep in mind that when you set a bid amount on Amazon ads, that it is your cap. You're saying, I will not spend more than 39 cents. However, all of us ladies who like to bargain, and you men too, if you like to bargain, you know that you kind of go in your head with what you're willing to pay, but you want to pay less. That's kind of how ads work. You're not always going to spend 39 cents per click. You can go anywhere between 1 cent and 39 cents. It's just giving you a cap. So do I think it's too high? Not if you have a budget of $5 or so per day. But again, it depends on your budget. And I think it's important that you watch them and you tweak them. And it's okay also to set some ad budgets at 15 cents per click bid, see no impressions, see nothing happening, and up it. Brian's process is slow, steady, and babied. For Brian Cohen's process to work, you have to be consistent. You go really slowly, you build up, and it's slow, and you really have to baby those ads. And it does work. I will say it does work, but sometimes I've seen it take people 6 months or more for it to work because it's a slow, steady process. Sometimes when I work with clients and they want to do this quickly, they have more money than time, and they say, I just want to get this done. Let's make it happen. We actually start with higher bids and then start bringing them down. So we kind of do the opposite of what Brian does, same idea, but opposite, where we try a lot of keywords, higher bids, and then we bring it down as we go. So we get the sales and then we bring our ACOS down rather than keeping ACOS low and slowly trickling sales. They both work. It just depends. Do you have more time or do you have more money, and which one works better for you? And honestly, it may be your book too. You may have to try one or the other to see what works and work within that. Is it true that the new versions of Kindle can make bottom of page footnotes instead of just end of chapter notes? Any idea what layout software can handle that? David, I'm afraid I do not format my own ebooks. I have a wonderful, beautiful designer who does that for me. However, I can say that Kindle, I believe, does now allow bottom of page footnotes. If you email me, David, I will let you know. It's info@newshelves.com. And so bottom of page footnotes, I believe, are correct. And I have heard that Kindle is going to actually start allowing page numbers. So right now, when you're reading a book on Kindle, it gives you like a location number, which is crazy because it's like, you're on location 2957. And it's like, great, but what page? And because it doesn't kind of correlate, it goes by a location. And I have heard that they're going to be bringing in page numbers. Now, I'm not sure exactly how that will work with reflowable format, but we shall see. I've heard, Kindle's doing a lot of updates with their devices, but keep in mind, not everyone has the newest and greatest Kindle devices. A lot of people are reading off old devices. All right. How important is it that you stick to your publication date? Book 3 in the Bar Poem series is due out today, but I'm still not satisfied with it. I'm also not satisfied with my street team. Would pushing it back 1 week ruin my credibility with the major book reviewers, or are delays common? Not only are delays common, they are happening left and right now. I actually have a client from UGA Press, which is a big university press, whose book was pushed, I think, from October 1st to October 15th. So his book just came out today. Yay, Steve Majors and High Yella. It's a really good memoir. But so it's very common. You just announce it and you say, hey, just kidding. We're going to launch it next week. And it's not a big deal. Things happen Life happens. People can't get paper. They can't get their books. Their books are printed and they can't get a trucker to deliver them. It happens. Just put it out there and change it, and it's just not that big of a deal. Also, as I'm sure you know, Randy, sometimes your publication day, your launch day feels really big. But I told a recent client, expect no fireworks, plan dinner and drinks at home. It'll be fabulous. Have your own party. But when you launch a book, you're expecting like this big, crazy stuff to happen. And a lot of times it doesn't. It's a week or two after when people start buying it, leaving reviews and all that stuff. So make your own party, set your own rules and your own dates. And invite me. I'll zoom in and cheer you up. That's good. Caroline's saying Vellum has great endnote, footnote functions for ebook. Awesome. Thank you, Caroline. All right. Oh, here was a question. We have seen more and more recently where there are rules with ISBNs, particularly that ISBNs cannot be transferred. What in the heck does that actually mean? Let's go over it, and I'll try to be quick because I know it's so exciting. ISBNs, when you buy them, are bought by the publisher. And so when the publisher buys them, the publisher cannot transfer them. The publisher who buys the ISBN cannot sell them to you and allow you to use them in your own account. That's a transfer. That's not actually allowed by Bowker. You cannot use someone else's ISBN unless they're a distributor. We'll talk about that in a second. So when you see people selling ISBNs and they're like, oh, well, you could go to Bowker and buy an ISBN for $90, or you can buy it from me for 25. What they have done is they've gone to Bowker, they've bought a pack of 1,000 of ISBNs and they get them super cheap. So then they're selling them off and parceling them off. That is against Bowker's policies. More than that, a lot of these places are ending up being scams. They're trying to reuse ISBNs. They are ISBNs that do not correlate directly to the imprint and the publisher, which will give you a hard time when you go to upload at Ingram Spark. They're holding it back. KDP is doing the same thing. Your imprint has to exactly match where the ISBN came from. Some of this is kind of, there are legitimate companies that have been buying ISBNs and they have clients. They are hybrid publishers or assisted publishing publishers who take these ISBNs and they've been doing it kindly as a service to their authors. But with all the changes in ISBNs and Bowker and everything like that, what's happening is that these books that are going up under other people's accounts are sometimes now being pulled down without notice because you can't use a transferred ISBN, and they're really cracking down on it. This is why I always say, my friends, go to Bowker, go to My Identifiers if you're in the US, buy your own ISBNs. I recommend a pack of 10. You will use them probably. You need one for your ebook, one for your paperback. If you've got a hardcover, you need one. And if you have an audiobook, you need one. That means one book could take up to 4 ISBNs. Go buy them, buy your own for the love, and go buy your own because it's important. And also because that means you own it, it protects you. So that's really important. And we're seeing more and more where people are realizing that this is an issue where it wasn't before, and they're having to transfer over. So what they're doing is they are republishing their book as a second edition with their own ISBN. So, you know, thanks, Mary, for getting my book up under your ISBN. We now realize it's a problem. I'm going to have to buy my own ISBNs. And now that I have my own ISBNs, I need to publish a second edition of the book. Let's cover second edition, quick terms. Second edition means it's got a new ISBN. It can have a different publisher or a new publisher, doesn't matter. It just means it's got a new ISBN. It's got a new Social Security number, so to speak. And so you're putting it back up. When you do this, the big question I get all the time is, when I do a second edition, is it revised? It doesn't have to be. It can literally be just new ISBN, a new copyright page in the same book. Could it be revised? Sure. If you have updates to make and you're making at least a 40% change, you can call it updated or revised. Otherwise, just second edition. More importantly, When you put the book up, even if it was in someone else's account and now you're putting it up in your account, do you lose all of your reviews on Amazon? What about Goodreads? No, 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 no. You don't lose anything. What you do is you put the new book up, the second edition book, up in your account with your ISBN. Don't take down the other book yet. You email into KDP and you say, I have a second edition of my book. I would like to merge book one or the first edition with the second edition. I'd like to merge them and merge the listings. When you do that, all those reviews transfer over. As long as the title and the author name are the same. Really important. You must publish the second edition under the same title and the same author name. If you decide to get all creative and change your title, those reviews will not transfer. If you keep the same title, the same author name, even with a different ISBN, different publisher, different accounts, it will sync up and you can keep all those reviews. So I've been getting that question quite a bit lately, so I wanted to make sure we covered that. Let's see. I've got a couple things in the chat, so let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, it's not worth the potential hassle of anything. Just buy your own ISBNs. It is part of the publishing process, and it's an important part. I have an advanced reader team, but when I send them a new novel in advance of publication for them to review, they don't. When I send a reminder, several said they did review it. When I went to the book, they didn't. What's the best way to handle this? Well, number one, if it's an advanced team, remember they're doing you a favor. So we need to make sure that we are treating them as friends, as your cheerleaders, and that we are being gentle with them. But also know that if you are speaking specifically to Amazon, Amazon picks what reviews go up and which don't. They may decide that they think you have too close of a connection with that person and hold their review back. No one has control of that. That's an Amazon thing. And even then it's an Amazon bot. It's not like a person saying, we're not going to post this review. So I think that's really important to know. They may be posting a review and it's not going up. Now, if you're asking them to post it on something like Goodreads and they're not, I think handle with extreme care, because obviously it's not up there. But why would they say it's posted to Goodreads if it's not? I don't know. So maybe you could say, oh, I didn't see it and I'm so excited to read it. You know, do you have a copy of it, or can I have a link? You can do that. And just again, remember, people are busy, things come up. Do we all want them to review? Absolutely. Do we hope that they will if they've given us their word that they will? Absolutely. But sometimes life does happen. And also consider, this one's hard, but I'm going to put it out there. Also consider, if you have a team of people who typically reviews your books and they're not reviewing a new title, ask yourself in all honesty if it's possible that they're not reviewing because they didn't like the book. Is there something about the book where they can't leave a good review and that's why they're putting it off? That's a hard one. It's a really hard thing for people to look at and be honest with themselves with, but it's something we've got to ask ourselves. If it's people who typically leave a review and they're not this time, is it because they didn't like the book? And if they don't like the book, is it something that can be improved on? Let's see. If you don't use all of your own ISBNs at once, it's okay. They don't expire. Bowker keeps a record. That's exactly right, Linda. As far as ISBNs go, they do not expire. They stay forever and ever. The only time you can actually do a transfer of ISBN is with the sale of a business. All of your ISBNs can go to the new owner, or in the case of at someone's death, their estate can transfer ISBNs to a new owner as well. So they literally never go away. I think New Shelves has like 1,000 of them. Just clarification, can we take the same book with the copyright date of 2020 And in 2025, have it a second edition without making any changes to the book by using a new ISBN. Technically, yes. However, if you're just doing that to put a new date on it, it's not going to go over very well. Typically, it's one thing when you have a reason or you're doing updates or revisions, but when you're just slapping in a new ISBN to get a new date, especially if you do it more than once, people are going to catch on, and it's going to lose its steam. It's going to be the boy who cried wolf. Okay, so one person did say they didn't like the book and wouldn't be reviewing it. I told her that's fine and asked for feedback. Didn't get much back. Well, and I'll say a lot of people, a lot of people, I don't, they don't like conflict. I mean, not in their books, but they don't like conflict in person. It's hard to tell someone we don't like something, especially when we know they care. Sometimes we don't even want to say what we didn't like, or sometimes we are afraid that if we give honest feedback that we won't have that received well. And I can tell you from being on the receiving end of feedback, no matter how kindly meant, the initial reaction, right? Whether someone tells us about our writing or life choices or parenting, whatever it is, when someone gives us hard feedback, our immediate response is, that jerk, that's not true. Obviously they're wrong. And whether or not you eventually take it, and no matter if you're a wonderful person, it's hard to take feedback, and sometimes we take that out on the people giving us feedback, and that may keep people back, especially depending on your personal relationship with them. I would say that if at least one person told you they didn't like the book, and if you're having a hard time getting responses from other people, well, and that's great. That is absolutely great, but I can say that, again, it's still hard to give it. It's the fear of making people upset, no matter how well you receive it. And even if you do encourage it, it's the fear of upsetting people that can often keep people from giving that feedback. So I would say if you're still not getting reviews, if you have had at least one person, possibly more, tell you that they don't like the book, it's time to take another look through the book yourself, or possibly get a paid beta reader or editor who you have no personal ties to that can give you honest feedback and an honest review. It may be something worth it. Yes, if you are, but again, the average reader, I am not arguing about how you receive feedback. I'm saying that no matter how you receive feedback, it's a human response to not want to give hard feedback, especially if these are average readers. If the average reader or reviewer that I work with, they don't like to give hard feedback, especially not directly to the author, because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not saying you don't receive feedback well. I'm saying people have the fear that you won't receive it well, no matter how much you assure them that you will. All right, let's see. In my estimation, what's a good ACOS to show you're profitable? Did you say 50% a few minutes ago? Yes, Pat, when we're talking about Amazon ads for an ACOS, I typically am looking for at least 50% or lower. 50% is typically where you're just starting to break even and make a profit. I'm not saying that's ideal. I'm not saying that's your ideal ACOS. I am saying this is where you start to break even and make a profit. And then we want to drive that ACOS down as much as possible. Again, when you're dealing with a series and you are doing your first book as a lead-in, that's different. Sometimes you will spend a little bit more to acquire the customer who's going to read second and thirds. All right. I've gotten a copyright on every book right away in the past. Should I hurry and do that again for my latest release in May 2022? I'm a bit lackluster because of no sales. So copyright is in the US, copyright is implied. As soon as you write that thing down, it is yours, it's copyright. And if you do the little copyright symbol and put your name, it is, for all intents and purposes, covered. Should you still apply for copyright? Well, sure. It's not hard. You can send it in. I think it might be $40 if you go through Valker's program. But sure, why not? Do you need to feel like, oh my God, I can't do anything until I get that copyright in? No, I don't think so. But again, personal decision, and I am not a copyright lawyer. So if you have any big concerns or anything like that, definitely go to a copyright lawyer and ask them. But in my opinion, no. All right. What is the best time to request a review on Goodreads? Pub date is January 2nd, 2022, but books are available from the distributor from November 15th. So you, as the author, needs to get an author account on Goodreads. The way you do that is you have to have a live book on a retail site. So you have to have a Goodreads account, and then you must have a live book for sale or pre-sale on a retail account. When you do that, you can apply for an author event, or I'm sorry, not an author event, an author, I've just blanked out, you guys, an author profile. And so you can apply for an author profile and put it up there. And then your author profile, you can put your book up on. And then as soon as your book is up, people can start reviewing it. For Goodreads, there's no reason to wait. It's just Amazon cannot have reviews until the book is live on Amazon. But on Goodreads, why not take them now? Early reviewers happen all the time. And what can be really nice is that if you have people post reviews on Goodreads, then they've already reviewed it. When the book comes out, you're asking them to spread their reviews elsewhere online. You can say, you wrote the best review on Goodreads. Would you mind copy and pasting that over? They don't have to do a lot of work. They don't have to remember or rewrite the book, so you can get them while they're fresh and hot and kind of take care of it there. Let's see. And then I know also, Nancy, you're saying you'll have a Ford review as well. Congratulations, yay. For the Ford review, that goes in your professional review and endorsement section. You can access that on Amazon, again, through the author portal. So once the book is live on Amazon for pre-sale or for sale, either one, you can go to authorcentral.com and claim your author profile. The book must be up on Amazon for sale or pre-sale to do this. When you do that, you can claim the book, and then there's a book tab where you can add in endorsements and reviews, like your Ford review. You can use it in other marketing pieces as well. So I highly recommend that. And I have this really, really, really long and great article on Author Central that I wrote for Nest Graphica. I've shared it in the chat. So Nest Graphica, there's an article. It's Amazon Author Central, how to set up your Amazon author page on Amazon. And it covers everything, and it's got illustrations and all the things. It's not to pat myself on the back, but it's a great article. It's a really helpful one anyway. So I would recommend you do that, and you can use them there. Your Ford reviews can go on your marketing stuff. It can go on your book listing on like Ingram and places like that as well. Do we give out a list of agents that might be suited for a particular author? We do not. We do not connect agents with authors. That's a completely different sector. If you are looking for agents to query, I would recommend going to Query Tracker. It's querytracker.com, I think. Let me double check that. Querytracker.com. It might be .net, but yeah, it's .net. I was so close. Querytracker.net, and you can sign up there, and you can find agents there to pitch your manuscript to. It'll have their information, their requirements, all the good stuff. Yep, and that is how you find an agent, someone who represents you. And no, most people don't get an agent right away. Talking to an agent a couple of weeks ago, she said she opened herself up for queries for 1 week, and in 1 week she had over 1,000 pitches. She had 1,000 queries in 1 week, and this is a newer agent, and so they are getting lots of pitches, lots and lots of pitches. It can take them up to 6 months to get through that 1,000. Sometimes it is going through a assistant first or an intern first before it even gets to them, if it even gets to them. And again, it can take a really long time. So Jane's saying she reached out to 48 agents before she got one. It takes a while, and sometimes you don't find an agent and you decide to go self-published. For sure. Oh, David's saying your local library may also have resources to find agents. That's cool. I've never seen that before, David. All right. Let's see. On Amazon, I have combined book 1 and book 2 into a book 3 with some changes in new title. Sorry, my nose is itchy because we have changing seasons and allergies. All right. A new title, and I've unpublished books 1 and book 2 to combine the reviews of book 1 into the reviews of book 3. Can I change the title of book 1 to the title of book 3 without changing the cover of book 1 or republishing book 1? John, I feel like we need a whiteboard for this one. Instead, I will use all my hand signals. I think you're saying you had book 1 and book 2, and you combine them for book 3, but book 3 has a different title. Your reviews will not transfer no matter what you do. Once a book is published, you cannot change the title. Once it's published, the title is firm. It is tied to your ISBN. You cannot change it. So there is no way to get your reviews from book 1 and book 2 to your new book, which is the two of them combined with a new title. That title is brand new. It's on its own. Reviews have to start from scratch, I am afraid. So the short answer to that is no. And I think I got that right, but if I misunderstood, please let me know. All right, back to our emails. Answer that one. Answer that one. Okay, so recently, if you're on our newsletter list, my voice is cracking. If you're on our newsletter list, you would have gotten an email from me recently with a call out specific to Philly and Philly area and Georgia authors, because I had 2 opportunities where people had actually come to me asking for books and author recommendations from Philly for a review site and then from Georgia for a librarian. Yes, we do this occasionally. It's not anything we promise, but when we have opportunities drop in our lap and they're free and they're just like, hey, we want authors. You have a big list of authors. Help us out, and we'd like to help authors out. Of course, we pass those on, you guys. There's no trick. There's nothing. It's not a bait and switch. It's literally us just saying, we'll pass your information on. If it's ever anything paid, we'll let you know. But because of that request, we had an email come in saying, wow, you're asking for authors that are really specific to certain locales. Is it smart? Is it smart to include location in your title? And I say sometimes, but sometimes not. If your book is set in Georgia and it's a thriller series, so maybe it's Silenced, book 3 in the Atlanta series or something like that, sure, you can work it in there, but don't force a locale. I mean, if it doesn't really play a major part, if it doesn't make sense, don't try to force a locale in there. If you are going to use it, I could see it going in the subtitle or the series name. Again, if it plays a major part, I don't think you need to shove it into the title. Now, if it's nonfiction and it's about Philly, well, yeah, we should probably work in the words Philly, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, not so much. So I think it's something that you can lead in marketing with, though. You know, this great series. And I always say, if someone's calling for Georgia authors and you are a Georgia author, then you lead with that in your bio. You rewrite your bio to say, this is not true, I'm making it up, but Keri Ray Barnum was born and bred in Atlanta, Georgia. She grew up there and went to school and blah, blah, blah. You lead with that, even if that's not your normal bio. You want to highlight what people are specifically asking for, and that's okay to do. It's okay to change up your bio. It's not like once you set it out, it's set in stone. If I'm pitching myself for a speaking event that is specific to, I don't know, romance writers, well, then maybe I'll lead with, you know, a speaker for Moonlight Magnolias and First Coast romance writers. Keri Ray Barnum is proficient in blah, blah, blah. It's okay to do that. It's legit, it's true, and that's okay. But again, I don't think that you need to put it in there unless you really have a reason, or it's where your books are really set and it matters to the overall setting and scene of the books. Let's see. And if you're not on our newsletter list, by the way, you can always sign up for our newsletter list at newshelves.com. And that way you get our newsletter, which comes out supposedly, it's supposed to come out once a week. And we have a lot of helpful articles in the industry, what's happening in publishing. We try to keep it pretty fresh with updated articles. And we send that out weekly. And then we do send out special opportunities sometimes, like when we do library marketing, or sometimes these free opportunities where it's just, send me your books and I'll pass it on to these reviewers who have asked me for books. So we send those opportunities, and whenever we have freebies on our website and things like that, like our A+ templates, we try to send that out as well. So let's be friends. Let's see. I think that about covers it. All right, you guys, if you have any last questions, drop them in the Q&A box. In the meantime, let me tell you that we have a special guest coming in next week, and I am so excited. Next week, we have Lee Wind from IBPA coming to join us for Free Advice Friday. Same time, 10 a.m. Eastern, Lee is going to come in. He's going to tell us about himself and IBPA and some of the cool stuff. And IBPA is the Independent Book Publishing Association. So he is going to do that. He's also going to be telling us about his experience as an author. He has written middle grade trade nonfiction and a picture book. He's got all sorts of stuff. So he is an author who has made it, who has been where you are, who has gotten tired of publicizing himself. He is also the director of education and programs for the IBPA Association. So he is awesome. He has so many good things to say. And we were on a panel recently and we just we jived. I emailed him and I was like, hey, can we be friends? And do you want to come meet my friends over at Free Advice Friday? And he was awesome. Yes, we will record it like we do with all of our Free Advice Fridays. So we will forward it and then we will put it up on our replay, and I'll send an email out for this because Lee is a special guest. We will actually be sending out an extra email with that recording on there because we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity. I know 10 a.m. Eastern doesn't work for everybody all the time, but he is awesome. Awesome. So Lee Wind, it's Lee Wind, W-I-N-D. I really hope that he's on Zoom and he shows us our bookshelves, because you guys, he has the best bookshelves that are arranged by colors. So it's like a rainbow bookshelf. That's literally what I noticed. I was like, hey, I like your bookshelves. And so he's going to be on. If you have questions for Lee or you have questions about IBPA, be sure to email them in. You can always email them to questions@freeadvicefridays.com. Join us live. We're going to be taking live questions like we always do. But I am very, very excited about that. I also, coming up in a couple weeks, we haven't set a firm date yet, but I have a school librarian that I met recently, and she is going to come in and she's going to talk to us about what it's like being in the school library system, how they can order books, what it takes to get kids reading, and all sorts of good stuff. So we have some awesome guests coming up, starting with Lee Wind next week. So show up, watch the recording, whatever it is, but he's awesome. All right, you guys. Well, I don't see any more questions. So yes, all of my fall colors. We actually, it's really a mess in here. This is how much my love for you guys is. I will show you all my fall colors that are really starting. It's a mess in here. My office room's a mess, so don't judge me. All right, so that's so anyone who's just looking to have a great drive, Western New York is really great this time of year. All our leaves will be changing. We are starting to get those beautiful oranges and fiery red and yellows. It's awesome. Oh, well, thanks so much, Kevin. Um, it's not a mess. I may be a little OCD about how clean I like things, but it is definitely turning gorgeous here. I'll have to actually move for one of my sessions so you guys can enjoy the leaves with me. Um, I mean, you look at my desk. It's because this is what I can control. All right, my friends. Well, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to hop off. So you all know I'm out of the office on Monday. I will try my very best. I'm actually going to go set up right now. I'm going to go set up my email auto reply. But if you email between now and Monday, I will be gone. So it'll take a couple days to respond to you. But thanks you guys for joining. Come back next week for Lee because it's going to be awesome. And if you have questions, email us at questions@freeadvicefridays.com. And we'll see you next week. Bye.